Hey, hello out there. Welcome back to Bitcoin Generations. Bodie, and we have Jor for a little while anyway today. How you doing, Jor?
Hello, folks. I'm doing great.
Good.
It is a beautiful day here. Finally, the snow's melting, and get to golf again tonight. That's why I have been. That's why I was absent last week for the show. So
Oh,
going forward, this is my golf night. So I'm going to try my best to stick around for a portion of Bodie's show, depending on how long they go, I guess. But I'm going to do my best, assuming I don't have anything else going on. So pretty big day, though. I mean, if you're a price watcher, I think we got up to what, 102,000 US dollars, which is still crazy to me.
it is crazy. It's a crazy thing. Here we are. We're living through this. We've been talking about it. We've been saying, hey, there's a lot of reasons why this is going to move in the up direction. There is volatility. There is all these things, right? We know these things. These are built into Bitcoin, the volatility. And so with as much pressure as we have coming from all sides now, I would say, you could take, an hour and just unpack all the different kinds of audiences, the different kinds of, avatars, the different kinds of markets of people that are really, really studying and getting into this and wanting more, wanting to understand more and about an asset that is scarce, right? Scarce. Um, whether you believe, whether you believe or not, there's a lot of people that have done their homework and they do understand that it is scarce.
Did you see that? On that note, did you see the Coinbase ad that they put out?
I did not. I actually kind of got numb to their ads, but no, I
This
haven't
one's
seen it.
good.
Is it?
Yeah, let me find it here, Bodie, because it's
Okay.
basically it's a really good visual of just how scarce Bitcoin really is. The thing for me, and I think the thing that a lot of people struggle with is, we hear million, we hear billion, we see trillion. It all kind of sounds the same. The words look the same. But like when you actually break down how different they are and how big a billion is and how big a trillion is, like it's actually it'll blow your mind. So it's nice to have some sort of a visual. And I'm in the same camp as you. Like I'm not a big Coinbase guy. I'm pretty vocal about that on my show. But I thought this was a really good ad. So let me
Yeah, let's take a look at this.
it's only about 30 seconds long, but a very good visual. Sailor even shared it actually. Okay, so yeah, I think it's a good one to start with. If we're going to talk about like the scarcity, just kind of, again, it gives a really good visual of how few Bitcoins are actually available.
Okay, let's take a look.
So here we go.
If a Bitcoin was the size of a quarter, all 21 million of them would fit inside a single shipping container. But to fit the dollars the Fed prints on average every day, you'd need 72 shipping containers. Each year, you'd need 26,280 containers. And to fit what they've printed in the last decade, well, you'd need a lot more than that. If a Bitcoin was the size of a quarter, all 21 million of them would fit inside a single shipping container.
Impressive. Impressive for sure. It gives you some context, right? So we have some scale built
Yes.
into that. This is it's amazing. You hear million. We've gotten so used to million. You have $1 million. It's really not that much anymore because of inflation. Billion, it's like, I can't really get my head around a billion, but a trillion, they all sound similar, but just scale just totally different. Thank you for sharing that. That was good.
It's a good one. Even though it's Coinbase, I think it's a really good representation of, not even like I've seen a lot on like the whole monetary supply as a whole, which is a whole nother level of craziness. But like just to show, I think it was 2,600 might have been 26,000 shipping containers in one day. That's basically how much on average they've been creating of new money.
Yeah.
And so if you think about it like that, there's so many things right now that are happening. And I kind of alluded to this morning as well, but it seems like there's an ignorance there of the people who don't necessarily need to understand it. They're kind of putting it off. They're going to get what they get, and they have a lot more at stake. The very wealthy and the elite people of today, they have a lot of mouths to feed. And so to not only find time, but to put some of that capital at risk that has got them to that point is a big step for a lot of people. But for people, Saylor calls it basically a need to know basis. So ask yourself, do you need to know? Are you part of that class? If not, then you should probably be looking into this one, because this is your chance.
It is. It is. Do you have a need to know? That is a great, great question. And that's a question that you can ask yourself, that you really want to ask yourself that question. Do you have a need to know about anything new? Do you need to learn? Is there something you might need to learn? I mean, you've been through the last 5 years of the COVID pandemic and all the aha moments, and the conspiracy theorists were not so not so wrong, but I think the rhetorical, it's a rhetorical question, but I think the answer needs to be, yeah, you do need to learn some things. There are some things there are definitely some things that are broke, and if you don't know about those things, it could hurt you. It could hurt your family. Now, do you want that? No, nobody wants that. So let's grease the wheels, put the the spray silicone where it needs to go, and let's get things moving again. Get those things moving. Yeah, definitely.
I really think, and it's kind of a weird thing to think about, like what Saylor's basically saying there is, like, unless you have more money than you know what to do with, you should probably look into Bitcoin. And there's not a whole lot of people who watch YouTube, I'm sure, on a weekly or daily basis that have that kind of money, that they don't have to worry about it, because that's the thing, right? These billionaires, or what are they called, deca millionaires, sent something $100 million, they're probably going to be fine. But it's the millionaires of today who, because we know there's only 21 million, the majority of those have been mined. We're not creating new Bitcoin. And so those 63 million millionaires fighting over 21 million, millionaires aren't going to get to one Bitcoin, but
Right.
the billionaires probably will. They'll have enough purchasing power by the time that happens, by the time they figure it out. Billionaires will be fine. They'll get a couple Bitcoin or 20 Bitcoin or whatever it is, but the millionaires are going to be the ones who actually shift from being a millionaire to being somebody who has to learn about this stuff pretty quick. And that's kind of where we are right now. And that's what he's suggesting is, you're going to study Bitcoin if you're on a need to know basis, which most people are, even millionaires.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's one thing that there's one thing that, if there's one thing to kind of pinch yourself right now and say, okay, am I aware of all the things that are going on right now? And if you need to pinch yourself and say, no, I'm not, let me pinch myself and see if I'm awake. This is a wake-up call. This is not an urgency. This is not a panic situation, but this is a wake-up call. This is okay, I need to learn some things. I need to turn on my brain. I need to get engaged, maybe get the pot of coffee going, right? And that is that, what happens, what's just a couple things that happened this week. We can just go highlights a few things. Okay. We've had some news about Warren Buffett, right? There's been some news about Warren Buffett, and you covered this, very well on your show. But we've had some news. He's kind of like, he's messaged some things. He has I think he's kind of announced his retirement, right? Isn't he,
Yeah,
like
he did.
60 years or something he's been? Okay. So he is kind of like, who does that? Warren Buffett doesn't do that, but he's announced his retirement. Okay. And what does he know? What does he know? Something's coming. What does he know? And then, but at the same time he's announced his retirement, you had you know, again, I don't want to take any, you should probably talk about this, not me. But at the same time, we had this new guy, this upstart guy that not very many people know about, right? Tell us about this a little bit.
Yeah, I just think that this week we saw Saylor tweeted that Berkshire Hathaway's 20th century Bitcoin, which basically suggests that they were the kings of the last 100 years and we're going to be the kings, or Bitcoin is. He didn't say strategy is, but he said Bitcoin's going to be the new Berkshire Hathaway because it's going to eat everything. That's essentially what they did. And I compared, so that was the first kind of starting point. Buffett retired after a lot of years. He basically told people to run away from the US dollar. He said people should be holding a lot of currency that isn't the US dollar, which to me, there's no way he would recommend somebody hold a different country's currency. So I think he was suggesting without saying that people should start looking into Bitcoin. But so there's that. There's Strategy World, which in my mind has now kind of replaced the whole Berkshire Hathaway shareholder meeting that they do every week. It was kind of like a big celebration where all the shareholders would come together. They'd celebrate all their wins. The share price actually went from about $18, I think, to $800,000 since Buffett took over. So it was a 45,000%, no, not percent, 45,000 times in increase in the last 60 years. And so I think that the shift has happened from the old world to the new world. Some people are paying attention, some people aren't. We've seen the price at $100,000 today, 102, I think, as we're talking now. And, you know, when that happens, I usually get some texts. And one of them was from my brother. And he said, what's going on? I said, with Bitcoin, he said, Bitcoin and strategy. I said, well, this week alone, we had 2 states, New Hampshire and Arizona. They officially passed a law that says that they're now going to be buying Bitcoin and adding it to their strategic reserve. So 2 states officially, we've been talking about this for 3 or 4 months now. They've kind of been getting to this stage. The dominoes have started to fall. New Hampshire and Arizona are now officially implementing a Bitcoin strategic reserve. Plus, I've been watching the strategy presentations that they've been putting on at Strategy World, and they were the first one. So Strategy was the first public company to put Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Since then, there's been 70 companies now are holding Bitcoin on their balance sheet. It's pretty hard to ignore. It's pretty hard to argue that this is going to continue happening. Plus, the global M2 supply is ripping right now. They're pumping a bunch of liquidity. The US wants lower rates. They want weaker dollar. They're going to print. They're basically forcing the Fed to print. It's coming. It's just, do you see it or not? That's kind of where we are right now. Like, it's very obvious to anybody who's paying attention what's happening, but everybody else is like, oh, why is Bitcoin $100,000 today? But there's a lot of reasons, and it's all kind of building up into this, you know, little perfect storm right now.
Well, you know, I mean, there's definitely some people that would just be like, you know, hey, you know, I go to the grocery store, I look at the price of gas, I look at the price of milk, eggs, and bread, and that's my bandwidth. That's what I can handle. You know, listen, I'm telling you right now, you need to learn a little bit more than the price of eggs, gas, bread, and milk. You know, it's much bigger than that, right? It is. And come on, you're better than that, right? You can learn more than that, right? If you're a tradesman, you're skilled, and if you're retired, I don't care. It doesn't matter. You know, Bitcoin is not that complicated. You know, I recently learned how to use AI, right? And it's not scary. I would just tell you, you know, you gotta get off zero with this thing AI. It's not going to be scary if you use it. It's a tool, okay? Yep. And I look at Bitcoin like a tool. It's a currency. It's a monetary asset. It's a thing. And just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not a thing, but it's something that you need to learn how to use. Okay, so use it to your advantage rather than have it use you and put you kind of in a lower financial position that you're in. And so what I did with this AI thing is I went into this AI and I looked at what the question that I asked was, what are the top 8 reasons people don't understand Bitcoin? And Jor, the first one is just like, okay, this is what I've been saying on this channel since we started. And that is number one reason was complexity of the technology. Bitcoin relies on concepts like blockchain and all this other stuff, decentralization, which these terms are unfamiliar and intimidating, is what it said. Okay.
It's true.
But you know, the thing is that like we were here, my generation, okay, I'm beating my generation with the rubber noodle, right? I'm telling them, hey, we were here when the internet started. We were here. I remember, um, I remember when, you know, like you started using these plastic checks. I mean, the thing that you had to have was either cash or paper check. You would write a check wherever you went. Everybody went and you'd stand there in line and they had the special check writing stands and those have kind of gone the way, right? But and then they started using these plastic cards. Well, credit cards and then debit cards and everybody had the state of the art technology with the cards. Well, this is the new thing, all right? So you know, I don't want to beat that dead horse. I could go down that road. I'm going to go into further some of the other reasons, but Jor, I know your time is short with us today, so you've got some stuff you got to go take care of. Do you have anything you want to add on that? Because I would just beat up our baby boomers like me, you know. But I you know, there's a lot of grace. Okay, there's a lot of grace in this too.
Yeah, and I think that the one thing that anybody who's not in Bitcoin yet, I'm thinking most people who would be watching this at this point probably have some Bitcoin, but the people who might be watching this, finding this channel through a friend or something, it is the thing that really bothers me about Bitcoin is there's a lot of terminologies used, and they just seem to like purposely overcomplicate things. It's really, when you break it down, when you have a better understanding of it, it is very simple. And it's much cleaner than the system that we have right now. It's 1,000 times cleaner than it is. Like it's so simple. It's literally peer-to-peer sending value to each other. So with that in mind, you don't expect to know everything. Don't expect to know every terminology. But even in the last 4 years or 5 years, whatever it's been now since I got into Bitcoin, it is a million times easier just to buy it. And I think that's where people really just need to start. Even if you keep it on the exchange for a little while, just get some, because when you get some, you're going to have some skin in the game. And then you're going to take some of your own time and start learning about these different things. And the more you learn, the more Bitcoin you're going to want to get. So that's kind of like, forget everything else. Understand that this is where things are moving to. Larry Fink's talking about it. Donald Trump's talking about it. Everybody's talking about Bitcoin, and everybody's going to be talking about it even more. So just get some skin in the game. You don't have to do anything crazy with it, but just trade some of your dollars for Bitcoin and then start paying attention. You'll pick things up. It's not an easy thing to do. It's not you can't shortcut it, but the most important thing is just to get some sats. That's it. You don't need a whole Bitcoin. Just put what you can into it.
And, you know, and on that note, dollar cost averaging, or just basically for people who don't know what DCA or dollar cost averaging is, that's all you're doing is you sign up with an exchange. And there's three that we'll go into later. But you just put a little bit each day. Maybe it's $5 a day. Maybe it's $10 a day, but you're putting something in. That's your savings. That's your savings. Instead of saving fiat dollars, instead of saving, you know, US, you know, the US dollar, the greenbacks, whatever you want to call them, don't save in those. Those are not, that will not be worth anything at some point. Okay. I'm telling you that your US dollars are going to be worth less and less and less.
It's the only way for them to go right now. It's a one-way street, both these technologies. Bitcoin's going ahead, and the other fiat currencies are going much, much lower.
Yeah. So get it in something. You know, gold is not the thing to save in. Okay. If you are there already, great. But if you have a choice and you want to know what to save in, my recommendation, not financial advice, is to save in Bitcoin. It's easy for you to get this now. It's easy. So get some, and then we can talk more about how to get it in a safe location, very safe, very secure after you get some. That's the important thing to take away. Let's look here at some of the people we've got in the chat over here. We've got some great names over here. I will apologize to you right now. I am working on my new system, and it's
Well, you look good, you sound good, so I think we're
do
good.
I?
Yep.
Oh, well, it's some work when you have to change over to a different computer. We got Mert. What is this? Mert says, "What a great notification from YouTube." Okay, we got some everything divided by 21 million. Yeah, so kind of insane to think technically it got into Bitcoin before it hit 1 trillion market cap, got $1 or 2,424 sats for free from Robinhood Crypto. Yeah. Yeah, they were giving it away pretty handily there for a while. Johnny Midas. Hello, hello, hello. Cleaner Machine, welcome. Wonder how that grandson of yours is doing. Yeah. So yeah, definitely. Really glad that we have lots of people here that we've seen in the chat. Yeah, Warren Buffett. He's probably doesn't have a choice about whether or not he has to retire. Okay, buck 52,000 for sure. For sure. Hello, hello.
One Bitcoin in Canada right now is $141,000. I mean, if
Really?
if there's no other signal that you need, like maybe you don't listen to Larry Fink, maybe you don't listen to Donald Trump, but like the fact that one Bitcoin now costs $141,000 here in Canada should probably tell you something. It should either tell you that, it's probably going to go higher because there's so much momentum and there's still so many people to come, or it might tell you that your dollar that you're holding right now has lost so much purchasing power that it only gets one Bitcoin. $141,000 gets one Bitcoin here. That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's what people understand still. I know that like Bitcoiners, they like to think, fiat doesn't matter, but that's what people still measure the world in. And one Bitcoin now costs, I can't say that anymore, $141,000 here in Canada.
Well, I remember coming to Canada and I was looking at land up there in British Columbia near my wife's family. And at the time, the exchange rate was really advantageous for the dollar, right? So we got, I think it was like maybe a 30% discount on if we spent money in Canada.
Yeah.
And it was like, I couldn't quite understand why that is. The beauty of Bitcoin, what we're talking about here, is if we have, and I do think eventually the world will standardize on a Bitcoin as like the world reserve currency, meaning we would trade with Canada in Bitcoin. We would trade with Australia in Bitcoin. We would trade with every country, and every other country would base their currency. Well, I guess every currency would end up going to zero, but you would have this world reserve currency that would just be basically one standard unit of account, right? So if in that scenario, I could go to Canada and I could buy some land, I would pay Jor, what the land is worth. He says the land is worth this much. I pay him that much. And we're across countries. We're across, in an international border. And it goes further than that eventually, right? We get to a place where like, war isn't such a big deal. We don't want to fight with each other because that costs too much money. And none of us want to spend our precious Bitcoin paying for a war. That's another rabbit trail to go down. But I would say that this will bring a real boon to commerce internationally. I think it'll take a little while to see this, but yeah, I $141,000 in Canadian dollars for one Bitcoin.
Yeah, I kind of see a world where countries, and it's going to happen sooner than later. This is going to happen fast. And for anybody who's somewhat newer to Bitcoin, the last Bitcoin cycle we went through, I remember like waking up 3 or 4 times a night because the price was going up so high, and it was just like blowing my mind of how much it was going up. We haven't seen that at all yet this cycle. Everybody's talking we're headed towards a bear cycle. Price is going to dip more. people when it was 70,000, they're waiting for it to go down to 60. No, the bull cycle here, there's way more factors involved now. There's way more capital involved here. This thing's going to move very fast. It's going to move so fast that people's heads are going to spin. And at that point, that's when countries are going to say, okay, maybe we need to get some of this stuff. And then currencies will start failing because people are going to realize that they're literally backed by nothing. They have zero use. They have zero value behind it. And so countries are going to start buying Bitcoin. And then I think that they're going to start issuing their own currencies based on their Bitcoin holdings. That would make the most sense. So whether or not people are actually paying Bitcoin back and forth in that situation, maybe they will. People who are here now and have a lot of sats and a lot of economic power will probably be doing that. But there will be currencies, I think anyways, stable coins built on top of each country's currency. Maybe not 150 like we have today, but the bigger ones, the countries. And the crazy thing is there's probably people in this chat right now who are going to have more Bitcoin and more economic power than countries will in a decade from now, which is nuts.
Oh, it's absolutely crazy. No, it defies logic. But one thing you touched on regarding like the human factor, the psychological factor of this is so subtle, and that is that. And I think I heard you and Forrest talking about this on Maple Bitcoin, which shout out Maple Bitcoin. If you're not a subscriber over there, you should go check them out. Maple Bitcoin, probably one of the fastest growing Bitcoin YouTube channels on planet Earth. But I would say that the part that was interesting to me was when Forrest was talking about just a small group of people who are just like, they know that this currency, whatever it is, and I would say that it's the US dollar. Once they decide that, no, that's not what we're gonna invest in. We don't want to save in that. Businesses are kind of like, no, I'll give you a discount if you give me Bitcoin, but I'd rather not. You're going to pay maybe a 10% premium if you want to pay in US dollars. They have different ways of moving this around, right? They can kind of manipulate it how they want to. A business, I'm saying, if they're receiving.
Yeah, I mean, we're already doing that today. Like this is coming, like it'll catch on, but like the service that Craig and I provide, we actually have a Bitcoin price, and now we have a fiat price, which is about $300 more if you're wanting to pay us in fiat. So it's like as more people realize that the dollar is worth nothing, it's going down and down and down. And businesses are going to say, you know what? I don't want to sell my products $4 anymore. So first off, I think that Bitcoin businesses are going to start to accept Bitcoin slowly. And then from there, it's going to be pretty quickly, businesses are only going to accept Bitcoin or a currency that's backed by Bitcoin. Because once we get to that point where people understand what's happening here and understand that the dollars are actually can be created out of thin air, so therefore have zero value, then they're going to say, hey, why would I take these dollars? This doesn't make any sense. I'd rather get this asset that everybody wants. I can get it directly into my wallet. I don't have to go through the banking system. I don't have to tell anybody that I received this payment. It just makes sense. And that's why I'm so sure that it will eventually catch on. It's just a matter of when, really. And I think it's going to surprise people how fast it happens because, people are waking up. People are starting to see the problem here. They're starting to feel it, and they're going to look for a solution. And I think most people usually run to gold and silver first as kind of like the safe haven there away from the dollar.
Yep.
But they pretty quickly find Bitcoin.
Yeah, they're going to find out that, I'm not going to be able to use these coins, my gold coins in the grocery store. Or if you do, probably a more common thing that I've actually seen when I've had large bills, paper fiat bills, if that is, I only have a 50. Can I pay for that thing that's $20 with a 50? And they look at you. It's like, you can pay with that, but I don't have change for you. So you want to pay with that? You want to pay with that $100 gold coin? You can buy
$3,500 gold coin.
There you go. I mean,
that's
what kind of
gold ounce is? You can't break that up.
What kind of change do you have? Are you going to be like this guy who's standing behind the counter at the convenience store or a grocery store? You think they're going to have all these gold coins in their change drawer to give you change?
Yeah,
they're not going to be giving you change.
But if we just kind of follow that same, no, exactly. And if we follow the same thing as like, if we assume that countries will eventually start buying Bitcoin, which we've seen, states are doing it now. They start issuing their currency. Like probably in a decade, New Hampshire will have their own currency. I can see that. We're moving into a decentralized world here, right? So New Hampshire is going to have some Bitcoin. They're going to create their own currency on top of that Bitcoin. And that's going to make sense. And people might say, well, Jor, before 1970, life was pretty good when we were on a gold standard. And I agree. Like if we went to a gold standard tomorrow, things would be 100 times better than they are today. I'm not arguing that, but there's problems with it. The problem is you still have to trust the government that they actually have that gold. You have to be able to verify that they have that gold. You have to verify the fact that that gold is real and 100% gold. Otherwise, the whole system fails. So gold eventually centralizes because of those factors that you cannot verify it. With Bitcoin, though, if New Hampshire said, hey, we got 10 Bitcoin here, here's our website, you can see this, you can see the inflows and the outflows, people are going to have more trust in that. And that's what people are looking for right now, is something that they can trust.
Oh, I would say absolutely. It's gonna happen. And this, yeah, gradually, then suddenly, and we are 100% headed toward the suddenly.
We're on the brink.
Yeah, I agree. I want to say a shout out to. I do not have the person who paid us 500 sats.
Nice.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Also wanted to shout out. So Aiden here is in chat.
Aiden's in the house.
The Bitcoin nurse. Oh dear, the nurses have arrived. Okay. Now that the U.S. is involved and other country states, the former 4-year cycles, I believe, are over, at least for Bitcoin. No more shitcoins soon. Well, I don't know. I think I echo that sentiment. In my heart, that's what I feel. But I also have seen, what is it today? I think somebody said ETH is ripping. But I don't know if that's a real thing. But believe me, I don't have anything other than the main orange coin. That's the only one for me. Excuse me. But yeah, we'll see. There's a lot of Me Too stuff going on, with Bitcoin. Everybody wants to be the first one, but Bitcoin leads the way.
Excuse you.
Oh my goodness, we just got another zap.
Oh my God,
we got another zap for 2,500 sats. Woo. Very nice.
Like our good friend. That's a CYM zap.
That is somebody that we know. And I cannot on this. I'm going to have to change the QR code to a place where they can actually send us a note, because I do not see the note from who this is from. So thank you, whoever sent us 2,500 sats.
Here.
Yeah. So we have we got Clean Your Machine. He's excited about the rip in here, I think. And we got Buck 52,000. I love it. Kind of odd that Trudeau came to power in 2015. US dollars was at a parity with the Canadian dollar back then. Okay. Yeah. Ginger's in the chat. Hey, welcome, Ginger. And oh yeah. Clean Your Machine. Yeah. You think, Jor, do you think Alberta's going to be issuing their own currency backed by Bitcoin?
Yep.
Wow. Yeah.
It's the way that the world should be. It's nature. It's energy, right? I know we've been kind of beat to death with the whole energy's bad. We're using too much energy here. The climate's changing. The world needs energy. The world needs carbon. And the more energy we have, the more we can evolve as a civilization. And so when you have a currency that's actually backed by energy, it's fair and it's honest, and it requires work to actually get that currency. And so Henry Ford actually had the idea 120 years ago about an energy-backed currency, but Henry Ford didn't have the internet. And we couldn't have had Bitcoin any earlier than we did because the internet didn't move fast enough. So we have what we have now. We've had to go through 111 years since the Federal Reserve was created in this. But we wouldn't have got here without going through that. People wouldn't see the need for Bitcoin if we didn't go through that. And we're kind of in the perfect spot right now. We have the most influential country on the planet that's not only like not ignoring it, not putting people in jail, but they're actually embracing it, and they're helping people. They're helping Bitcoin miners. They understand the importance of energy. And so the US absolutely will. The states absolutely will. Alberta's full of energy. They absolutely will. Everybody on the planet is going to have some Bitcoin, and the world is moving towards more decentralization and away from like the federal government and the big banks being able to create money for sure. There's no doubt.
I think 100%. I'll raise my hand. I would say most of the people that are watching this live here, I would say we have learned a lot in the last few years, and we are sick and tired of some of the ways that things have been. And if that means, a little bit of pain to kind of getting through a transition period where we got to get to the most sound money on the planet, hey, I'll do my best to get through it, but that's kind of segueing right back around to the kind of the title of our show today, the women and children first. This is the thing. This is why, and I'm going to just call out the men. I'm going to call out the men because I think men, you need to, I've got a quote here from George Gilder, who wrote a book called Men and Marriage. And the quote is this: it's, civilizations are built by men with families to feed. Okay. Now, that's the quote. If you think that's sexist or whatever, okay, I'll take that. But really, it's actually not intended that way. It's intended to encourage men to get off your butt and get something done. Start building the economy, start building things, making things, growing things. Yeah, that's what it's talking about. Okay. So when they say that, it's like, okay, men, you can lead. They will follow, right? So get yourself off of the sinking Titanic with this fiat economy, get some Bitcoin, put it in, get it in your account. Just do it. All the rest of it, you can trim your fingernails and comb your hair later. But right now it's time to get up and get going. Or, you could go out and play golf too, George,
No, you're right, Bodie. I just want to piggyback off that. I actually got to go on about, speaking of golf, I got to go and I'll end with this. How about that?
Sure.
I think that you're absolutely right. I think that men, if they haven't already, they need to take this stuff seriously. Nothing else matters without Bitcoin. It's the only thing that we have. It's the only hope that we have in the world. And if you care about not only the family that you have right now, but the family that, you're going to pass on and the wealth that you're going to pass on, Bitcoin is the only option right now. It literally is. Like, you could use gold, but you're going to lose to Bitcoin. And that's an opportunity cost. And I think that the majority of people watching this today, I'm going to speak to, because you have to get serious about protecting that. Yes, it's good to have a bunch. Yes, it's good to watch videos and stuff, but you have to make sure that that's protected. And the one thing I want to leave people with here is take a good hard look at your current situation. I want everybody to do this. I want you to take a piece of paper. I want you to write down all of the assets that your family has. So that's your house, that's your car, that's your lawnmower, that's your gold in the basement, that's your stock portfolio, that's your cash in the bank. Add everything together, all the assets that you have, put it on the left side of the page, put a line down it. On the right side, put your liabilities there. Put your mortgage, you could just go right across from it. So what your asset is, or what your house is worth, left side. What you owe on that house, your mortgage goes on the right side. Your car, what it's worth, left side. What you owe on it, right side. Just those amounts in fiat. And make sure to put your Bitcoin on the left side. That's the key here. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So put your Bitcoin in fiat terms, whatever you have, whether it's 1 million sats, 5 million sats, doesn't matter. What I'm trying to tell you here is just put it down on the left side. And you're going to get a pretty good visual, a pretty good representation of your net worth as of today. And that Bitcoin balance, that Bitcoin allocation there, it might be 10%, it might be 20%, doesn't matter. What I want you to do next is what matters here. So take the price of Bitcoin today, $102,000 US. times that by 1.4, which historically the reason I say 1.4 is because Bitcoin for the last 10 years has gone up 50 to 60%. We're going to go conservative here though, go 1.4. And then so you'll get, let's say 140,000, take that times 1.4. Then you'll get 190,000, take that by 1.4 and do that for about 10 years. You can do that on a spreadsheet or using a calculator, but just keep for 10 years, keep timesing that by 1.4 and see what that Bitcoin that you have today is going to be worth at that point. Because that's what you need to be paying attention to. You need to be protecting it because it's going to move from, let's say, 20% of your portfolio to 50% of your portfolio. This is very objective math, assuming something stupid happens and Bitcoin dies or something happens, but it's going to continue on this trend barring anything crazy. So you're going to see what your family's wealth is going to look like, a snapshot of it in 10 years. And Bitcoin might be 120% of it. It might be 200% of it. And so if you're looking at that as like 10% right now, you have to protect that because it's not what it's worth today in fiat terms. It's what it's going to be worth in 10, 20, 30 years. And that's how you have to be securing it because it's the exact same amount. If you got 2 million sats today, you're going to have 2 million sats in 20 years from now. You're going to be able to buy much more with it. So you have to focus on protecting that. Regardless of how big it is today in fiat terms, just do a very objective math and say, this is what it's probably going to be worth here in 20 years based on what it's done and what we can expect it to do. And look how big that is compared to the rest of your assets that you hold. So do not sleep on protecting it. Make sure that you have the best possible security. And again, don't do it all at once, but take action and start to move in the right direction to make sure that you actually have those sats in 20 years because it's going to be, it's going to be your whole portfolio. That's kind of the idea here that I want to portray. So,
yeah, no, it's 100%. Thank you for sharing that. That is a great way to segue right into our next thing. Are you gonna
I gotta go, Bodie. Sorry.
You're gonna be heading out and you're gonna be taking care of business. So enjoy the links, enjoy the weather, go touch some grass,
get some sunshine. I deserve some sunshine. It's been a long 6 months here for me. So thanks, Bodie. Thanks for having me on again. Like I said, I'm going to try to be here for half hour, 45 minutes, an hour going forward, but some days I'll have to miss out, but you're in good hands here with Bodie. So I'll keep it rolling on my channel, Bodie. And
okay,
we'll talk to you soon.
Fair enough. All right. Enjoy.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye. The famous bye-bye. So, there we go. We've got another zap in the chat here. Let's see. This was, this is another 40 sats. So thank you. Thank you very much for the zaps. Oh, and Ginger, I got a little note. Ginger sent us a zap for 88 sats. Very nice. Very nice. Thank you very much. Everybody in the chat and everybody who's able to zap. And if you're not able to zap and you want to learn how to zap, we can teach you how to, or there's some resources on how to get you on Nostr. And so you can send sats or value for value. If you think you're getting some value out of the podcast today, you can like it if you would like, or you can subscribe, or you could send some zaps, excuse me. My English is my first language, and it's my mouth that's not working. So yeah. So yeah, for sure. And if you're a baby boomer and if you feel like I'm bagging on you, well, maybe a little bit. But I think there's a lot of folks that are very very on top of things that are going on in the news, and really kind of what I would encourage you to is to, like, take a step back from the news and from the stuff that is in front of your eyes and go, how am I protecting my wealth? How am I protecting my family's wealth? What is the current best practices to be able to do that? What is the current best practices to save in? And that's why we talk about Bitcoin, because it's hard money. And speaking of a book that I've been reading recently, it's called Honest Money. It's by a guy named Dr. Gary North, It's this is honest money, biblical principles of money and banking. And here at the very beginning of chapter 1, there's a quote from Genesis 47, verse 15. It says, "So when the money failed in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came to Joseph and said, 'Give us bread, for why should we die in your presence? For the money has failed.'" Unquote. So, this is nothing new. This is the money has been failing since since creation, since the beginning of creation. So, I think what we got to remember is that, uh, you know, one thing they say is, there was one thing you're never going to get away from is death and taxes. So yeah, okay, well, we'll see about the taxes, but we definitely won't be able to get away from death. But the money the money fails. The money will fail. It continues to fail, and this is one of the reasons why we have to find the best money that we can in order to preserve our wealth, preserve our family's wealth. And this is the whole reason why we have this channel for Bitcoin generations, and that is for future generations of Bitcoiners that aren't even here yet. So, in the chat we have Aiden. We have Aiden's grandfather. We already have two sets of two generations. Actually, I guess that's three. We have two generations that are separated by a generation in the chat. What I want to see is Aiden's dad or Aiden's mom get in the chat too. So we have three generations in the chat. That would be great. But no, seriously, we all have a lot of things to consider when it comes to our families. If we don't have a family yet, then we have some planning to do. If you have a family, you have a lot of kids, you have a few kids, you have some things to think about. Definitely have to think about those things. And this is one of the things that I had to do. And when I started first getting into Bitcoin, I was thinking, wow, this is if this really is this good of a thing, I'm going to have to figure this out and plan ahead accordingly. And so that's one of the things I did. And I've got some help with some of those things, with some of the things that Jor talks about, the super backed. That will be coming my way very soon. And so when it does, I will be sharing more about that as I learn all about it with you guys. So yeah, I think there's some kind of segueing into another thing that I talked about earlier that I kind of want to get back to, and that is one of the reasons why people don't get into Bitcoin, why they are not, that they don't get off zero. They just are completely just, like frozen. It's like, hey, don't be frozen by this. Don't get scared by this new technology. Yeah, it might be complex, but it has to be. We don't want it to get broken. We don't want it to get debased or ruined by, people who are the bad guys, right? So it has to be complex. And one of the second reason why people don't understand Bitcoin is many people do not have a full grasp on basic financial concepts. I mean, it's surprising the number of people that I meet that don't have any training at all in basic financial concepts of, paying off bills and, savings and a family budget. This is a very, very common thing. And it's harder to understand from a new form of money that challenges, kind of traditional systems. So, and then also the third reason, okay, perceived lack of intrinsic value. Okay, so Bitcoin, it by itself is not backed by physical assets or government guarantees, and this leads many to question why it has value at all. Okay, so do you need to have it backed by a government guarantee? I mean, at this stage in 2025, where Bitcoin is pushing 102,000, the promises of the U.S. government doesn't hold the same weight that it used to have. And that is saying something, because the United States dollar is the premier currency. According to a lot of people, they would rather have US dollars than anything else. However, things have moved, things have changed. We had a lot of printing, a lot of inflation, a lot of debasement in recent years. So the promises of the US government are viewed very warily by many now. And so that is something that, you know, just the fact that it doesn't have a guarantee of the government. That's one of the things that's so great about Bitcoin, is that you don't have to trust it. You don't have to trust it. And that's why I don't think you'll really value it until you start doing some research. Do 2 hours of research on it. If you have 20 minutes a week, just do 20 minutes of research on it per week. Just learn about it. Okay. The fourth reason, it has volatility and speculation. And, perceived that there are extreme price swings, and a lot of stories in the media about people getting rich and all this stuff about Bitcoin. And it seems more of like a gambling thing than any kind of legitimate currency. Yeah, well, this is common with the media that we have. A lot of media kind of tells people that, yeah, you don't want to be going anywhere near anything like that. It's like, well, if you had that sort of mindset and you weren't thinking about preserving your family's wealth, then maybe that could be a problem. But if you have the mindset of, no, every dollar I earn is valuable to me. Every hour that I have is valuable. I have to take very good care of the things that I have, be a good steward of those things. So if Bitcoin goes to $1 million, let's say, and it comes back down to 400,000, does that, and it's sitting at 100,000 right now, that's a lot of volatility, but that's built into the protocol. That's how it actually works. But as we get more and more people on the Bitcoin standard, using Bitcoin daily, storing it, investing with it, saving with it, buying things with it, the volatility I'm thinking that it's going to reduce quite a bit. But currently, yes, there's a lot of interest in it. And so, yeah, it also has the fifth reason here was the security and trust issues, high profile hacks, scams, and the risk of losing access to funds if private keys are lost contribute to fears about safety and reliability. Okay. Yeah. So one of the biggest problems that you will have if you buy Bitcoin is for you to lose your private keys. If you store it on your own and you lose your private keys, your Bitcoin could be gone forever. That is true. And so that's why we say until you're ready to move it into your private cold storage, leave it on an exchange. Now, if you're going to buy, $100,000 or more, a ton of Bitcoin, or a lot of fiat dollars worth of Bitcoin, would you want to leave it on the exchange? That would be something where you would want to get professional advice. If you're going to be putting that much fiat dollars into an asset like this, that would be something where you probably need somebody to hold your hand to get you into a safe haven place to store it, with a hardware wallet in cold storage. That's not something you're going to be able to do right out of the gate by yourself, and for good reason, because you don't want to risk losing your keys. You don't want to risk attaching a hardware wallet to something that's connected to the internet. But how do you know these things? You don't know these things initially. So you start where you're at. You start at the beginning. If you're brand new, that's okay. No one's going to look down on you for like, taking it very slowly. In fact, that's the prudent way to go. But don't make decisions on your own and do a lot of things that are kind of uh, risky with uh, with something that you think that you can do just very easily. Uh, it might be very easy, but it might be also very easy to screw something up that's very critical. And I don't I think I can say for myself and some others that I know, I wouldn't want you to screw that up. That would be something that would be horrible. It could affect your family, and that's not something you need to do. When you could just ask for some help and get in some cases get some free help, at least for a few questions, and then get yourself kind of where you're comfortable. Uh, if you need someone to walk through those things with you, that is something that the Bitcoin Citadel can help you with, and that is something that Jor is associated with. And yes, I do have a working relationship with Jor in that regard, but I absolutely don't have any sponsors. I don't use anything that I don't feel that I would use myself. And so that's my take on this. My background is that I want people to get value. I want to bring value, and I want people to have success in Bitcoin. And that is the way to do it. Not pumping ads on my show for every 15 minutes to have you buy something or shield this or that. Other people do that. Um, that's not my style. So with that, moving on to negative public perception and media coverage, I would say that for sure it can be Bitcoin has a history of being associated with criminal activity, with scams, being a bubble. The whole thing just it discourages people from learning more and trusting the underlying technology that it's been that and the protocol that it's been built on. So uh, the number one way to value and to become a good steward of your Bitcoin is to learn more about it so that you can understand it better. And that doesn't cost you anything. The only thing it costs you is brain power and a little bit of time. But if you think about the kind of time that you have, you can utilize your time, and using your time, redeeming the time wisely is another way of becoming a good steward. Okay, moving on. Regulatory uncertainty. That's the seventh reason. It's unclear currently about some of the government change policies that are being changed. But I think the threat of crackdowns with the recent administration change that we had here in the United States, I would say that that has kind of cleared up some confusion. And I think that it may also have put to rest some of the hesitation from learning or investing in Bitcoin. So the last question here, or the last reason why people don't understand Bitcoin would be emotional and cognitive biases. Okay, people do resist change. We do resist new ideas that challenge our beliefs, and that makes us uncomfortable. Also makes us uncomfortable that we don't understand something, and this leads to rejection or dismissal of a new idea. And I think back to when I mentioned earlier about the credit cards. I mentioned earlier about the internet, and when the internet first came to us, when we first learned about it, a lot of huge pushback. There was a lot of people that were very uncomfortable with the internet at first. A lot of skepticism, a lot of and there was also early adopters that really did well, and especially in the internet, because they were early, they understood it early, they in some cases they invested early, and did really well. You know, I remember I remember uh, I remember when the Macintosh first came out, and I was at San Jose State University. I mentioned a little bit before where I went to school, and and the Macintosh came out, and it was the first computer that we were able to. You ever highlighted something where you kind of click on one word, you double click on it, and it highlights the word, and then you do like triple click on it highlights the whole line, and different software does this a little bit differently, but Apple Computer had the patent uh, on this technology where you could highlight a certain body of text, and then you could copy it, and you could cut it, you could paste it. So the whole copy and paste function of the early word processors back in like 1986, I believe. This was something that was brand new. This was something that was unheard of, and so actually, Microsoft copied them, and Apple sued them. Well, what happened? It was a long, drawn out lawsuit, and in the end, Microsoft actually won the lawsuit, and Apple lost it, and so Apple was not able to recoup that uh, with their perceived or real um, intellectual property that was stolen from them and used by Microsoft. This was something that was a huge deal back in the mid '90s, and and anyway, so that was from like 1986. There was a lot of people that didn't understand how to use word processors. They didn't understand how to do any of this. In fact, I was teaching my journalism professors in San Jose State how to do desktop publishing. They didn't understand cutting and pasting. This was something that was totally new. So, uh, you know, all that to say that, that new technology takes a while for people to understand it and to kind of not view it so like, feeling uncomfortable about something that's new. But that's where you can kind of come back and sort of like, if you're this early in Bitcoin, you can teach others, and that it's not so scary. It's one of those things. So I would, I would come back over here, and I'll visit some people in the chat here, and you know, uh, you know, let's see here. So Sin Diesel, I remember visiting Toronto for the first time in 2003, and Canadian dollar was $1.21 compared to US dollar. Now look at the price. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So we got Aiden in the chat. There you go. Welcome, Aiden. Good to see you in here. I hope your school is going well. You're learning a lot about Bitcoin, I'm sure. Now, a question for Aiden. Have you been orange pilling your parents? Because that's a question. Then that would have been the third part of that, the third generation there. Let's see here. Let's keep moving down the chat here. I think I actually went backwards a little bit there. Yeah. Okay. So no, this is good. Ginger brings up the point of proof of reserves. All right. This is something that is wonderful about Bitcoin, and that is it's open source, and it is very transparent. And so, yes, layer one is 100% visible. You can see all the transactions on the layer one, and that is through your mempool. Especially if you have transaction ID, you can see where it went through and was where the transaction went through. But one of the things we would like to see with people who say they have Bitcoin, which is a company like MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy has they say they have 550,000 some odd Bitcoin. Well, a lot of people want to say, well, hey, show us the proof of reserves. And so far, Michael Saylor hasn't, and Strategy they haven't really shown the proofs of reserves, but they have a reason for that. I think they've said that it's regarding security, but yeah, I think if the people would have their way, they would like to see proof of reserves. Not sure if there's a way to force them to do so, but I think the court of public opinion is quite a sway there. Uh, let's see. Oh yes. Okay. So I think let me take a look here. Yeah. So Clean Your Machine sent us the 2,500 sats. So thank you, Clean Your Machine. Appreciate that. And then yeah, you can future-proof your money with Bitcoin, says BTC is truth. And Clean Your Machine says, absolutely Bitcoin for Alberta. Okay. Let's see. And yeah, please do message Danielle Smith. So good. So good. Is she good for Alberta or what? Oh boy. I really didn't pay as much attention to Canadian politics until I started listening to you guys and Jor and oh, it's right up here, right up just to the north of us. Oh, okay. Yeah. So yeah. So this is something we need to do. This is an important thing for us to do here. And this is like, you can sell everything you have, sleep in a sleeping bag in a tent, and eat rice and beans. But, there is something to be said for taking care of your family, taking care of things, to go out and do some golf and go out and do those things. I'll tell you, I love it. I love it. At my age, I've got some guys that I can go out and play hockey with. So I go out and I skate once a week with those guys. It's so good to get a good skating, get a good workout in. This is something that, many of us grew up, being an athlete, doing some different things. And I 100%, I encourage you all to do that stuff too. Take care of you, take care of your family, make sure that your family members have got time to go out and do stuff that they need to do. My wife goes out to work out. I encourage her to go work out all the time. She's feeling better because of it too. It makes you feel better. And we need that. You get out in the sun, you get some vitamin D, and then you got the blood flowing, you got the blood pumping, you're sweating. It's good. It's good for you. And another guy that's many times here, and that is Sweating and Smiling Together. That's Adam. He's in the Living in the Future group. So if you're in the chat, reach out. But we'd definitely like to shout out your show too. He's on YouTube, by the way. Let's see. Clean Your Machine says Aiden's dad is working all day, but is pro Bitcoin also. Okay, so there you go. Now we got 3 confirmed generations at Clean Your Machine's headquarters. So glad to have you guys. Aiden is enjoying that, and then everything divided by 21 million. He says, I got super backed, and I'm working on securing the future of my children and grandchildren with 21 sats inheritance protocol. That is what I'm talking about right there. So think about this. All right. Okay, just time out. Pause, everybody. This guy, everything divided by 21 million. Okay. He already understands that he may not understand everything about Bitcoin. I don't know anyone that does understand everything about Bitcoin, but he understands it's a valuable and scarce resource. So what did he do? He got some for himself, and he's got it. He's got a plan on getting it taken care of and getting it set aside with super backed. And he's going to work on inheritance protocol with Crag. And I absolutely, I cannot wait for this. This is going to be absolutely fabulous when this gets implemented in the Wallace household. So anyway, moving on, we got Buck 52,000. He says, nothing good comes easy. And if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. For sure. Yeah. And so, oh yes. okay. And so Aiden's got a question here. Yeah. What is orange pilling? Great question. You know what? It's an overused term, Aiden, and it's kind of slang in Bitcoin. And so please forgive me for saying that. It means, okay, if you have, it kind of refers back to the movie The Matrix. And I don't know if your parents will let you watch that or not, but in the Matrix movie, they had they had a red pill and a blue pill. And if you went with the red pill, then you were, I think that's the one where you were going out of the matrix. That's the only way out of the matrix. And if you wanted the blue pill, then you were going to stay in the matrix. So the idea is that if you have an orange pill, that you would be in the Bitcoin, in the Bitcoin, you out of the matrix, but into the Bitcoin. Okay, so would you still be in the matrix? No, I don't think so. I think you'd be opting for out of the matrix and into Bitcoin, which is wealth preservation for the rest of your life, for the rest of your family's generations, as far as we know. So that's kind of my layman's explanation of orange pilling, and so yeah, I would just say, here we are, kind of at the kind of the top of kind of the top of the hour here. We've been doing this for an hour and 11 minutes. Let me just kind of like just encourage you guys with this yeah, I just want to read you a couple of different things here. So this is from that book that I was telling you about, Honest Money. And one of the things that it has, it has a little section here called the properties of money. Okay. And I would say that there are 5 essential characteristics that all forms of money must have. And these are, if you've been listening, if you've been paying attention for a while, and you know all this stuff, you know these things already. But I would say here they are, the 5 essential characteristics of money that all forms of money must have. Divisibility. Absolutely, 100%. Divisibility. Bitcoin is divisible, I think, to 8 decimal places. Number 2, portability. 100%. Bitcoin is very portable. Number 3, durability. It doesn't have any coins, doesn't have any paper money, doesn't have any physical thing that can rot or be stolen. Recognizability, number 4. It's becoming more recognizable. Is that something that is there yet? I think we're seeing the recognizability of it is definitely increasing, especially with all the media and all the people that are interested in it. It's become a very, very talked about thing, especially with channels like this. We talk about in terms of families and how to preserve wealth. And then finally, scarcity. That's the 5th one. And it has in here also high value in relation to volume and weight. Okay, in traditional ways, you would have a physical piece of some sort of good or something, a stone or a coin or something that has a physical presence. So scarcity. Bitcoin, yeah, we know it has scarcity. It has 21 million that can be divided into very small pieces. Satoshis is the next small piece. There's 21 million Bitcoin, and there's 100 million Satoshis in each Bitcoin. Okay, 100 million Satoshis in each Bitcoin. Okay, can the Satoshis be broken down into further units? Yes, they can. And that's what's great about it. It could go to $10 trillion worth per each Bitcoin, and you would still be able to divide these Satoshis into smaller pieces. So yeah, everything in the world can fit into Bitcoin. Okay, no problem. Okay, so we've talked about a lot of things here today. We've talked about a lot of things. I think one of the most important things is the stuff up here. If you understand, if you're paying attention, if you're ready to be off of zero, if you can get to a place where you can be humbled and admit that you don't know everything, especially about Bitcoin, that you can learn some things and teach yourself. And you can teach yourself without anybody's help. You can ask for help and have somebody hold your hand, and you don't have to disclose anything private about it to them. This is happening today. This is stuff that I've done. This is help that I've received, where I didn't have to receive I didn't have to give any KYC information to anyone. That is cool. That is really cool. So, there's a lot you can learn, and you don't have to tell anybody about it. There's a lot of things you can learn. You can be humble. You will be humbled when you learn these things. But I would just leave you with this. Listen, there are people in the world who want to ridicule you, who want to shame you, who want to guilt you, who want to like take your money. They want to like absolutely make your life miserable. Okay? You don't have to participate in that. You don't have to be involved in that. You can learn healthy things. You can learn about good nutrition. You can learn about good, solid, honest money, sound money like Bitcoin. This can be yours and your family's heritage. I'm not kidding. You can do this. And more than that, you can encourage that person in your life who is like, I don't know. That's too much for me. Well, maybe they never will get it, but you never know. And one thing my wife always tells me is that, only God knows the end of the story. Says you don't necessarily know that person's the end of their story. If they're still alive, they're still breathing, there's always hope. And so that's what I think. That's where I think about this today is I think there's always hope for new Bitcoiners. There's always hope for that person who's 75, 80, 65, 50. Some people they're thinking is only this big and they're, 40 years old. It doesn't matter. Now, only God knows the end of their story. And so I would encourage you to just have hope and continue to learn about Bitcoin and just have a spring in your step. There's always something new around the corner that you haven't learned, something that you don't know. I mean, why do you think I am this way? Why do you think I started a Bitcoin channel? I had no idea I would be doing something like this, but I got passionate about it. I got interested in it. I definitely always want to bring value to those who are listening or who are within earshot. Try to do that with my family. They would tell you that I don't always do it, but I always try. And it's just a great place to be today in Bitcoin. It's a great place to be right here where we are. And even if the persons who they never get Bitcoin, they will eventually be right where they need to be. And I have full faith in that. I believe in a sovereign God, and he knows the plans before the foundation of the earth. And so with that, I'm going to leave you all. Y'all are good. So good to be with you. I'm thankful for all of your sats and your zaps that you sent to us today. I will be back next week, Thursdays at, let me get my little banner going here. Let's see. Here we go. Can I do this? Yeah, let's see. Here we go. Boom. There you go. Now you can see it. So every Thursday, Lord willing, every Thursday, live show at 2 p.m. Eastern time. And we will talk more about Bitcoin. We will talk more about families, and we will talk more about things that matter to you. Please bring your questions. Please bring concerns. Please refer this video to somebody who doesn't know about Bitcoin. We love talking to new Bitcoiners and baby boomers, people who've never experienced anything like this crazy Bitcoin thing. And all those naysayers and everything. Hey, their story isn't finished yet. So y'all have a great day. It's my pleasure to be with you. And thank you again for coming to Bitcoin Generations. Give us a like, give us a shout out. We'll talk to you later. And that's it. All right. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon.